Anxiety in the workplace is apparently a very common thing, right?
Yes, I see it every day.
So what are some of the things you're seeing with that?
Well, maybe it'll be helpful if I give you like an example with a patient I saw recently, right?
Yeah.
They were fired from their last role. They're now here at the new role. And this is going to tie in self-esteem. And they're constantly anxious that they're not doing a good job at work, despite their feedback every like 6 months, and they get their bonus and their bosses are telling them that they do a good job.
They're going home and they're having nightmares about that everyone secretly hates them and all this.
They're being restless overnight. Yeah. They're feeling anxious throughout their work. They're second guessing their work, and they're asking for constant reassurance, right? So this is a good time to outline some, what can we learn from this? So this person's self-efficacy has been diminished by being fired at their last job.
Yeah, very real thing.
It's absolutely real. It's human, right? You get fired. Oh, was I not doing a good job? So their self-efficacy, their belief in themselves that I can accomplish this task successfully has been damaged. Now they're getting anxious about their work. They're worried that it's not high quality enough. They made a mistake. They're compulsively double checking their work, and I'll define compulsive later. And they're also compulsively, meaning they're anxious. And in the moment while they're anxious, to relieve that anxiety, they're compulsively asking other people for reassurance. Hey, am I doing a good job? Hey, is this right? Now, when we engage compulsively, it shows to other people that we're not secure and self-efficacious and sure of our work. So their self-esteem, their self-efficacy is low. They were just fired. They're getting anxious. They're asking for reassurance. They're double checking everything and things are getting delayed.
Yeah, now maybe their boss or their supervisor is like, well, this person is asking me a lot about if they're doing a good job or not. Maybe I need to look into this more and make sure they're actually doing a good job. And now you can maybe like interpret that as like, oh my God, my boss is on my ass now.
Exactly. They start manifesting their fears. That boss is thinking, if they're not confident in their work, should I be confident in their work?
Yeah, should I need to check on this?
Exactly. So now they are manifesting their fear.
It's coming to life.
Everyone now knows that they're not secure and confident in their work. Now they're double looking over their work even more. They're pointing out certain things. They're treating them with less respect and confidence. Now they're getting objective evidence that their fear is true. And now they've manifested this low self-efficacy, unsure of their work, and perhaps they get fired or they don't get the promotion. Meanwhile, this all started with them actually doing a good job and having positive feedback at work. And now they have manifested.
They've ruined it for themselves.
They've ruined it for themselves and they manifested it. So this low self-esteem and work anxiety has now manifested a position in which they get fired. They don't get promoted. People don't treat them like they're a good employee. They double check their work and the rest of it.
Do you ever find that this stuff manifests itself in substance abuse at some point? Like they go, I'm too anxious at work or whatever. I'm just going to drink.
Anything that causes distress can lead to self-medicating with substances to relieve that distress. In this example, it would be the work anxiety. Now, this patient actually was drinking alcohol throughout the day to try to relieve their anxiety. Of course, we addressed it. Now, here's one lesson. So one lesson with them, it has to do with everything we just talked about for this patient. They're getting anxious about their work despite objective evidence in the past that they're doing a good job. Anxiety is distressful. When we are feeling anxiously distressed and worried, we feel compelled to relieve that distress. One compulsive behavior to relieve this anxiety is asking for reassurance from others.
Which is more healthy than drinking, I guess.
Certainly.
It's the first step.
Now, what we talk about is sitting with that anxiety, not entertaining it and validating it to the point where it drives your behavior to seek reassurance. So we break that link of this anxiety that is not based in reality. Again, they were doing a good job, to behavior of compulsively seeking reassurance.
Do you ever work with your patients to come up with some sort of backup plan? Speaking from personal experience.
What do you mean?
The reason why my anxiety is generally low when it comes to these sorts of things is because I've always thought, well, if I get fired, I'll go get another job, like, and I always have that in the back of my mind. So even if my bosses get on my case or something, right, like I'm still likely to stick up for myself because I'm willing to lose the job.
Yes.
Because I know that, like, even worst case scenario, if I get fired, I'll go, get a job somewhere else, right? Like, do you build that into the...
Excellent point, right? Absolutely. Now, if you have security, so here we're talking about a job and having the security of other options.
Yeah.
If you have the security of other options like plan B, contingency plans, whatever, then the stakes of not performing optimally are lower. If you don't have any other opportunities, then the stakes and the consequences for failure are higher. And when the stakes and consequences for failure are higher, then that is a bigger perceived threat and the anxiety is higher.
Do people ever really not have any other opportunities though?
Depends on the person, depends on the job. Hard to answer that question, but
I mean, I'm not saying they have to have a plan B lined up. I never have. All I'm saying is I guess you feel confident enough in yourself that you could land a plan B.
There comes the self-esteem again, right?
Yeah.
That self-efficacy. If I lose this, I'm sure I can take the steps necessary to get another job. So the self-confident person, yes. So here, by building their self-esteem, they don't even need to have the security of other job options. They can fall back on their self-esteem.
Yes, and they know they could do it if they really needed to.
But herein lies this person that is low self-esteem. So usually that feeds the anxiety. I don't know if I'll be able to find another job. Again, when the stakes of failure are higher, failure is a bigger threat. And what is anxiety? It's threat detection and worry, which feeds their anxiety. Excellent point.
So something I wanted to ask you about, slightly different topic maybe, but it got me thinking about people who drink on the job to get through the shift.
Yes.
Right? Like, I don't think it's exactly the same thing, but it is sort of the same actions.
Yes.
Right? You have someone who's going to their shift, drinking to get through the shift.
Yes.
What is that problem? Is that anxiety, or what is that? And does that have anything to do with what we were just talking about?
Yeah, so great question. It's my job to figure that out. What is driving the substance use? Is it to relieve the distress of feeling anxious? Is it to relieve the distress of boredom? What is there a distress you're trying to relieve with the substance? It doesn't have to be anxiety. It can be boredom or anything else. So I suppose that would be the question, is what is driving the substance use? Alcohol use, whatever.
And then you would attack that specific issue if it was something that needed
Let's
to be
break
solved.
it down. What's driving it?
Yeah.
Sometimes there's more than one answer, of course.
Totally.
Yes.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes people just, again, it could just be a boredom. Let me just try to amplify this experience. I have to be there anyway.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's the case for a lot of people too.
Absolutely. Yes.